Hello everybody and welcome to EBA Sports, creating content for high-level athletes with advanced videography. We're currently here at Athletic Gains. It is a premier gym where they train elite athletes to be able to fulfill their highest potential. Make sure that you look up EBA Sports and like and subscribe. I'm your host Ryan Ketchum, joined alongside Westlake quarterback, Holy Cross commit, Marco Siderman. Thanks for joining us today.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. So let's talk about the season. First of all, you were able to come in, maybe not the record that you were looking for, but you still put up some big time numbers. You had a stretch where you had over 343 yards in 3 straight games, even hit the 400 mark a couple times. So what was working so well for you this season?
I think as soon as us as an offense clicked, the first 2-3 games we started out slow, but as soon as we started clicking and finding out who we really are, instead of forcing a different type of offense into what we don't do, that it really helped us just progress as an offense.
And it does help a lot when you're able to get that chemistry and the flow, just getting exactly what you want out of the offensive scheme. You led Ventura County in passing yards. You were tops in passing touchdowns. You won a team league county MVP awards. I mean, you were kind of all over the place in Ventura County. So how kind of was it for you getting those accolades and knowing that you were able to step up another level for your team?
I mean, at the end of the day, all those rewards are nice, but I would have liked to win more games rather than have those rewards. So It is what it is, but at the end of the day, winning is more important to me.
Now, getting up to that level, you obviously went through Westlake and Oaks Christian, now back over here at Westlake High School for the senior year. And what was kind of the struggles with being a quarterback at this level, and what would you kind of say to a young player that's trying to play that quarterback position here at the highest level and then further on for college and so on and so forth? But what would you kind of say to them to stay focused through maybe some of the tribulations that you went through?
I'd definitely tell them, find a good situation for your freshman year and just stick with it. Okay. Don't move around as much, build the chemistry with the team you have, and just go throughout your high school career like that.
And with building chemistry, how was it for you coming back into Westlake, building that chemistry to be able to get that offensive flow? And you were mentioning it took a couple games. How kind of was it building that chemistry back up?
Not as hard as you think, because I was there my freshman year, so they accepted me back with open arms. So it wasn't too bad.
Mm-hmm. Now for those young kids, there's obviously a lot of young kids that are watching our channel that are trying to be able to exceed athletically and be able to get up to the level that you have been. You were talking a lot off camera about getting stronger, building up, working on a couple of things, making sure you're throwing all the time, especially at the quarterback position. So what's an important thing that you implement in your workout routine that you would suggest for them to do so at an earlier age?
The main thing I do is I always stretch out my shoulder before and after my workouts, because especially upper body workouts, it adds a lot of strain onto the shoulder when you're throwing. So always keep it loose so you don't hurt anything, tighten up.
Mm-hmm. Definitely overcoming those injuries, that's obviously a struggle to be able to come back and still play at the high level. You're obviously now a Holy Cross commit, so what was the whole process like for you getting those nods from those FBS programs, knowing that you are going to be playing at that highest level? How was it for you, that recruiting process?
Honestly, it was a fun process because I traveled with my dad to all these different schools, did all these different camps, checked out all the campuses, and really learned what I like in a school and what I didn't want to do. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be going to that school, not just playing football.
Right.
So I went into it with a mentality of how's the school first, then the football program, and for me, Holy Cross just had both. They have good football and they're a really good school, so it worked out.
And you mentioned traveling with your dad. How important is it kind of having a family atmosphere kind of going along with you and being able to trust a school like that to kind of welcome you in?
I mean, he supported me along my whole football career. He's always been the one to support me no matter what. So it was really huge for him, doing all that with me, and at the end of the day, committing with him by my side. Because I committed at Holy Cross, so it was cool.
Yeah, now working along your journey, how was that journey kind of been? You said starting as a freshman out there at Westlake, and then going through the transitions with Oaks Christian and back, and just trying to build the chemistry, trying to build yourself into a better football player. How was that journey from freshman year till now?
Interesting. Obviously, about some of the injuries I've had that have slowed that down, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't be the same player without them, because every time I go down, I always have to get back up and learn a lesson from it. I can't just take it as a loss. I have to gain something from it. So I feel like at the end of the day, it helped me progress as a player and as a person.
Now, helping you progress as a player and a person, you're trying to learn something from the injuries. What would you kind of say to somebody that is in a down position in their life from an injury? Maybe they're kind of warming the bench right now when they used to be a starter, and they're trying to get back up to that same level that they previously were at. What would you kind of say to them to continue to motivate them, and what you maybe personally did to avoid that?
Just keep your head down. Don't listen to any of the noise, and just keep on grinding. Because if you listen to the noise, you'll get caught up in it. You'll start to believe it's real when you can't. You gotta persevere through it.
Now, keeping out the noise, how difficult was that for you? Just making sure that you know exactly what type of athlete you are, no matter whatever somebody else is.
Not terribly hard, because I consider myself a very focused individual. So I always have all my things I want to do set out. So I made a chart in my room that the first thing I wanted to do, the very important thing, I wanted to get back to how I was before. So that was my goal. I did that.
And you said writing out your goals, setting a chart. Is that something you would suggest for somebody to do? Just making sure that not only believing kind of the goals that you set, but making sure you write it out so you actually see them and can achieve them?
Absolutely. Worked for me.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Well, it's worked for you so far, especially with being, going Holy Cross commit and, having a great career in high school. And looking at kind of the future. Obviously, you said Holy Cross is not just for football, it's for other things with the academic side. So how important is the academic side to you, and what are you kind of focusing on for your future endeavors past your football career?
Hopefully, I'm going to go into law school when I'm done with it, because I'm really interested in law. So that's my path, I'm hoping.
So law school, obviously being a football player, you would expect at least everybody with kind of going along the lines of football, but you being academic minded as well. How'd you kind of come up with the idea of going to law school, and what interests you about it?
More of it's a family thing. So my dad's a lawyer and my stepmom's a lawyer, both in the same household. So I'm around it a lot. And it just, once they started to get me into it, I started doing my own research, and it got really interesting. And I was like, I could do this for a career. I won't get bored of it. It's fun.
Definitely, and following a career path, obviously, something that maybe is not as desirable for others with going into a law career as maybe an NFL career would possibly be, or going into sports. What would you say to somebody that's kind of having an interest like that, going towards maybe another path from football, with kind of staying focused towards that and making sure that they go after something they love?
Obviously, football is very important to me. If I can play longer than college, I will. But that's not my main plan. I have to have a plan, because not many people make it to the next level, especially after college. You have to be the best of the best.
Now, talking about football, obviously a fan of football as well. I saw you were at the Super Bowl where the Patriots playing the Rams. You had that Patriots blazer on.
Oh yeah.
How big time of a Patriots fan are you?
Crazy. I've been a Patriots fan since I was little. Just starting out with Tom Brady, he was my favorite quarterback, and then finally adapting the team. And then when he left, it was heartbreaking, but I'm sticking with the Patriots because I have to.
But that's good. I'll always sticking with them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that being said, you were saying Tom Brady, somebody that you looked up to, and you were saying a favorite quarterback as well. So having a guy like that, what's something you learned from him, just kind of watching his everyday routine that you could implement into your own game?
That he's consistent in everything he does. He's very consistent. You can see him on the field, his diets. There's a reason he can play till he's 42. He's consistently eating right, working out right, and taking care of himself.
Now, with that being said, with taking care of yourself and eating right, is that something that you personally have implemented? And do you think somebody at a younger age should implement that a little earlier on to make sure they're in as best shape as possible?
Definitely. I mean, I try to eat as well as I can, stay in shape the best I can, but it's harder when you have other stuff you have to do rather than just focus on football. Like, especially as kids, we have school we have to focus on, homework, like all these things, and not just football. So we don't have as much time as some of the pros do.
Right, and you said, a lot more just to focus on than football. You have, at least what we were able to see, about a 3.57 GPA. You were able to stay academically sound and while still maintaining a quality football career. How have you been able to manage that, and what would you say is kind of the biggest struggle that you had to overcome in managing both of those?
I say time management, because football takes up the rest of your day after you're done with school. You get out from school at 2, you're at football till, 7? So I get home and the first thing I do is bang out all the homework I have after I eat. So I just try and do it as soon as possible, that priority. Then whatever else time I have left, either watch film or just hang out with my family.
Now, we know, obviously, with that, with maybe time going out, is there certain things that you had to sacrifice? Such as maybe going out on the weekends or whatever to be able to get to that Division I level, and would you kind of suggest kind of just staying focused on those goals?
Absolutely, I sacrificed many weekends just to recover from Friday nights, solely for that, and just all these things that you have to do that partying really is just not a priority.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Now, I know with your athletic career, you were able to have some great games. There was a 509-yard, 7-touchdown performance that you had against Newbury Park High School. What's kind of going through your mind during a big game like that, and what's kind of happening after? Obviously, you're putting your name on a map when you're able to have that big of a performance. So what's kind of going through your mind?
During it, it's more, I just stay focused. I try not to get caught up with it, because if I'm rolling, I'm rolling. Like, nothing will stop that. But after a game, I try and sleep.
Yeah.
Like, those games hurt.
Oh.
It's taxing your body, so I just try and relax.
Yeah, so speaking about sleep and relaxing, you were talking about managing your injuries. How important is rest? I know it's not something that a lot of players talk about because they're just, hey, we're going in the gym, we got to make sure we're always on that grind, but how important is it to actually have that rest and make sure that your body is able to prepare for the next game?
Oh, extremely important, because especially like these Friday nights, you're so beat up after the games and you have to wake up early for films, or at least I did. But he had us wake up at 8 o'clock to show up at films. So we don't get much sleep when we get home at 10, 11 from these games. So I just try and just get as much as I can.
Now, I know that about the sleep you were saying, but still being able to wake up at 8 a.m. to put in those film sessions, to be able to put in that extra work. How is it kind of managing that as an athlete, knowing that, hey, maybe some days you do have to sacrifice sleep a little bit, but I'm going to get rest during a different time? How is it kind of managing that whole rest and sleep schedule, knowing that you might have earlier practices and late nights of games?
I mean, I try and get around 8 hours every day, even if that includes like maybe a 6-hour night sleep and then a couple naps, which I do, just to have high energy, because if I'm ever low energy, I'm not the same person.
Now, I know going back to your playing days and with Westlake and obviously Oaks Christian still in this area, there's been a lot of fires that have hit Ventura County, and it's obviously been a big issue that we've been dealing with, especially as of recent, with kind of back-to-back-to-back fires in the area. And I know October 30th of 2019, you said, if you need help during these fires, let me know. Got an SUV and teammates. So just kind of putting that out there with the community. Like, well, what does this community mean to you? Because it seems like even during these situations, you're still able to put yourself, basically any ego away, and say, hey, I'm going to be able to help you with anything that you need, and be able to kind of be there for you, the community, to be able to help you out.
Right, I mean, community is a huge thing, especially for a high school, because you have to stick together. If the community is not behind you, who will be, right? And I evacuated myself, so I knew other people were going through the same thing. Right. And I had friends and resources that I could help out with if they needed it, so I figured I'd reach out.
And does that kind of go with the family atmosphere as well, knowing that you have a community behind you, but you're also going to be able to help them out as well? And it seems like Ventura County, no matter, it seemed like it was close already, but especially after those fires, and it seemed like they just kind of came together a little bit more. So can you kind of describe how that came together?
I mean, I feel like in Ventura County, you know everybody. It's not that big, especially in your cities. So, like, after these tragedies happen, there's nothing else to do but come together and stay strong. You can't do it by yourself.
And definitely you can't do it by yourself, and your teammates as well, helping you through all those tragedies as well as in the season. So with you now going to a college, you're going to Holy Cross, you're going to have to build chemistry up once again. And there is a little bit of an issue with the COVID-19 pandemic. So going towards Holy Cross in the near future, what's kind of your outlook, and what are you looking to be able to do right away to kind of implement that chemistry and implement that teamwork in?
As soon as we get up there, I just want to bond with the guys, kind of get to know everybody well, because we'll start practicing, and that's when, like, you really start getting into it. And with the limited time we'll have because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we'll really need to speed up the bonding process, especially for the incoming freshmen.
Yeah, and with the incoming freshman, per se, you're going from a senior position to now a freshman position in college. What was it like being the senior position and being able to just be able to implement anything that you learned throughout your 4 years in high school to these freshmen that were coming in? And what's one kind of piece of advice that you'd give these young guys coming into high school to kind of focus on and make sure that you kind of stay away from any of the nonsense?
Yeah, really, you said it the best. Like, stay away from the nonsense. You can't get caught up in it. You gotta just focus if you want to be great.
And if you want to be great, I mean, you're already looking like you're on your way. Holy Cross commit as well. Thank you for joining us for this show. Once again, it's quarterback Marco Siderman. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us on EBA Sports. Thank you to our producer director, John Aguero, as well. Thank you to Athletic Games for letting us be able to use this facility. Make sure that you follow us on Instagram at EBA_sports, as well as liking and just subscribing to EBA Sports here on YouTube. Once again, Marco Siderman, quarterback Holy Cross commit. My name is Ryan Ketchum, your host. Make sure to stay tuned with more exclusive interviews only here on EBA Sports.